Hi, my name is Hannah Jacobson, and I'm here to inform you about the discrepancy in pay between men and women, commonly referred to as the wage gap. Many Americans believe that we have attained a state of egalitarianism in the United States, that the war is over, that everything is settled, and everything is fair and square. In many aspects, this is true. Women enjoy levels of social, political, and financial autonomy more than any other time in American history. They enjoy the same rights as men: the right to vote, the right to property, the right to divorce, and the right to manage their own lives. However, these legalities are not synonymous with equality. And despite these parallels between the rights of men and women, there still remains a large discrepancy, the wage gap. And this problem is everywhere, including my own backyard. Here in Montana, Governor Steve Bullock has created the Equal Pay for Equal Work Task Force, which was created in an attempt to close the wage gap between men and women in Montana, which is currently at 67.1%. According to Dr. Anderson of the University of Delaware, the national average is 77%, meaning for every 77 cents a woman earns, a man earns $1. That makes Montana 39th in the nation for the wage gap. This problem has gotten better over time. In the 1970s, the wage was at 62.1%, and the closest state to this gap currently is Wyoming, which is at 65 cents for every male dollar, and that is the highest discrepancy in the nation. So why this gap? If America was a truly egalitarian society, would this ratio exist? There are many theories as to why the wage gap still plagues the United States, and I'm going to explain some of those theories right now. First and foremost, women remain the primary caregivers of children and face the task of balancing home life and work life. Men and women have different social expectations and obligations when it comes to parenting and child rearing. Women with children are more likely to work part-time, thus earning less wages, and thus are less likely to be considered for promotion. They're more likely to stay at home with children, especially during early years of childhood development. This time away causes them to miss out on raises and possible promotions. This also expands to elder care. Sometimes this is a process of self-selection, where women will choose occupations in which they would be allowed more flexibility regardless of a lower wage. Felice Schwartz, author for the Harvard Business Review, refers to this as the mommy track. It's when women choose a flexible schedule so they are able to parent and fulfill other social roles in their lives. Women tend to value family-friendly work environments over men. And this is a huge cause, considering that women with no children, possibly in their early 20s, it tends to show a much smaller wage gap among that demographic. Not only are women segregated between home and work life, but between labor markets within the workforce itself. Dual labor market theory explains that there are two labor markets, the primary labor market and the secondary labor market. People in the primary labor market enjoy stability, better pay, better benefits, and more chances for advancement, while people in the secondary labor market suffer from low pay, high turnover rates, poor job security, poor benefits, and no real lateral movement. Women and minorities are crowded into this secondary market, while white men are crowded into a primary market. The secondary market isn't associated with women. The more feminized an occupation becomes, the less valued it becomes, and thus the less the wage. Since women are crowded into this second market, this may account for a portion of the wage gap. However, studies have shown that even women that are within the same labor market with the same level of experience and education in the same line of work still suffer from the wage gap. So this brings up the question of discrimination. Discrimination is an unfortunate reality for women in the workforce. It can show up in a manner of ways. Overt discrimination would be something like sexual harassment, whereas covert discrimination would be something like reduced hours. There's many forms of it. Women may also face discrimination in the sort of office camaraderie that happens in a workplace. This limits their ability to make important business networking connections if they're rejected from, the old boys club, so to speak. A study showed that falsified resumes and political campaigns, they were given a male name and a female name, and the male names, people rated them with higher aptitude and qualifications, whereas the female names had a negative effect on how they were rated. It's discouraging to hear such information. This national problem stems from many social issues, differences in child rearing and parenting, differences in occupation selection and labor market placement, and of course, discrimination. However, it's not a problem that cannot be fixed. Recent Supreme Court, it ruled that in Ledbetter versus Goodyear Tire, that a woman now has the right to sue her employer after she has discovered a discrepancy in her pay. Congress is also working on passing the Paycheck Fairness Act, which will hopefully become law soon. Although legal legislation helps this problem, it is actually a systematic or socially ingrained issue. It's when we can value women's work as much as men's that the wage gap might be closed. Activists all over the United States, even in Montana, are speaking out against the wage gap, and I believe with fierce conviction and a moral obligation to equality, that Americans will once see a day when the wage gap no longer exists and women are paid what they deserve. Thank you.
There you go.